Welcome back to 11 Minutes, where we cover only the most outrageous and appalling healthcare news. I'm joined with my co-host Bryce Kelly to uncover what was formerly called the Tuskegee Study of untreated syphilis in the Negro male, and is now referred to as the USPHS Syphilis Study at Tuskegee, a study that demonstrates the injustices that lie within our healthcare system. Tonight, we will be covering exactly what happened, major players, and how all of this ties into the role of ethics and you, the viewer. Now back to you, Bryce.
Thank you, Josephine. The study was titled USPHS Syphilis Study at Tuskegee. But what exactly is syphilis? Syphilis is a disease caused by the organism Treponema pallidum that usually results in symptoms involving the development of ulcer-like sores called chancres in the primary stage, followed by more generalized symptoms of fever, lymph node swelling, headaches, and fatigue in the second stage.
That's right, Bryce. Additionally, syphilis can develop into a latent stage where symptoms are hidden, but can transform into tertiary syphilis, where the infection can influence multiple organ systems, leading to brain infections, meningitis, and vision loss, and can in fact be fatal. This disease is known for being spread through person-to-person contact, especially through highly infected chancres. Stay with us. We'll be right back after this short message from our sponsors. Is your life too easy? Are you eternally bored? Are you searching for something fun to do? Try dental school. While you're here, you can meet state-of-the-art faculty, attend tooth proms, listen to people while being given free food, and chat with your 96 classmates during bathroom breaks during your 2 to 4 hour lectures. Try dental school today.
Side effects may include, but are not limited to, stress, lack of sleep, poor eating habits, and burnout.
Now, back to the Tuskegee study. Our sources tell us that this study, originally only supposed to proceed for 6 months, occurred a whopping 40 years from 1932 to 1972 in Macon County, Alabama, at the campus of the Tuskegee Institute, a university developed for higher education for the African American community in that area. Despite its reputation as a place to help African Americans, tragically, some ill-natured events occurred in relation to research done on the topic of syphilis. Bryce, can you tell us a little bit more about what exactly happened in this event?
There's been a great deal of mystery surrounding the Tuskegee study. So what happened and who was in control? The study was originally headed by Dr. Taliaferro Clark with association from the United States Public Health Service and was initially funded by the Julius Rosenwald Fund, a philanthropic organization whose mission was to promote the welfare of African Americans and understand the social settings in which such high incidences of syphilis would occur. The Tuskegee study was a quest to understand the long-term effects of untreated syphilis. Despite the constant change of leadership from Dr. Taliaferro Clark to Dr. Raymond Vanderleer to Dr. John Heller, all individuals who worked as on-site directors of this experiment, one thing remained constant. Patients were continuously lured to the study with false promises of treatment for their developing symptoms. Strikingly, participants were not informed of their condition and were deprived of appropriate treatment. When the Division of Venereal Diseases made it a mission to treat nationwide syphilis with penicillin, a highly effective treatment for syphilis, during the span of the study, the Tuskegee participants were excluded.
Our sources tell us that participants were told that they were being treated for bad blood. There were 600 participants in this study, all of which were African American. 399 of these participants had syphilis, while the remaining 201 participants served as the control. Tragically, the lack of treatment led to severe health consequences for these men. Not only did many experience blindness and organ failure, it's estimated that 28 of these men died as a direct result of the untreated syphilis, but up to 100 individuals from these studies may have been impacted. And despite individuals like Dr. Jocelyn, who reviewed the experiment, there seemed to be very few who questioned the ethics of the study. Even African-American healthcare workers Dr. Dibble and Nurse Eunice Rivers, who directly played a role in recruiting and treating patients, seemed to not notice the malice that underlie the continuation of the study as they continue to develop trust for the study in the participants.
The impact on their lives and families is immeasurable. I can't imagine how their loved ones feel right now, Josephine. This study has been going on since 1932. Why is this now reaching the public? Investigative journalists, the most notable being Gene Heller, uncovered the truth with a recently released article that shook the public to outrage. In addition, whistleblowers like Dr. Schatz and Peter Buxton, along with the attorney Fred Gray, helped to expose the truth and misguidedness of the study. However, as a result of this revelation-sparked outrage, there has been a commencement of sweeping changes in research ethics and regulations for future American studies. Back to you, Josephine.
We're getting word that our on-field reporter has a few individuals involved in the Tuskegee experiment. We asked these individuals what they thought of the study. Dr. Clark, what are your thoughts on this study?
Well, personally, I don't think I did anything wrong. The point of this was just to lead the study in the name of science and research. And I believe in discovery, and this just happened to be the right group of people. Nurse Rivers, what do you think about the Tuskegee incident?
Well, honestly, I never really considered the implications of the study. I never thought there would be any ill intention. I just was following doctor's orders. Dr. Schatz, what are your thoughts on the Tuskegee study?
Well, my mom is to do the right thing, and the study, it wasn't the right thing. So I just decided to call him out and move on.
Mr. Buxton, what are your thoughts about your involvement in the study?
Yeah, I was working with the USPHS at the time, and it just didn't sit right with me, the study that is. So I just ended up leaking it to the press. Ma'am, what do you think about your role in the study?
I plead the fifth. No comments, no questions. Let's dive further into the ethics of the Tuskegee study and where exactly these researchers went wrong. This may take a while. Experts have brought attention to how the study violated a certain set of rules referred to as the Nuremberg Code. The Nuremberg Code is a set of ethical principles and directions for medical experiments on humans. The set of code was formed by a group of judges and medical professionals after World War II who were involved in the Nuremberg trials, which were a result of unethical testing by the Nazi regime. Bryce, can you tell us a little bit more about the codes that were violated?
The Tuskegee study violated 5 out of 10 codes, the first one breaking code number 1, which states that the voluntary consent of the human subject of any medical experiment is essential. Unfortunately, the study's participants were misled regarding the study that they would soon be involved in, and once they became involved, many were never informed of their syphilis condition. Code number 2, experiments should be conducted to yield fruitful results for the good of society, was also violated. The researchers of this study were not interested in positive results for the participants, more so how the disease itself naturally progressed over a course of years. In addition to code 1 and 2, code number 5, stating that no experiment should be conducted if there is a potential that death or disability could occur, was also breached. The Tuskegee study maintained its normal course of experimentation, knowing that an effective treatment of penicillin was available to use. Now, code number 6, and this is a big one, was violated, which explains that risk should never exceed benefit. There was never a clear benefit for these participants in the long run, as many eventually developed severe health issues and, like we mentioned before, death. And lastly, code number 10, scientists must be ready to terminate the experiment at any point of a study, was once again violated. The researchers were aware of the consequences this study could lead to, and no one spoke up. What a shame. Josephine?
Now here's a lesson to be learned, kids. If you ever become a scientist and want to conduct a study, don't be like the researchers in the Tuskegee study. As we've depicted from this news coverage, many ethical ingredients can make up a study, and a lot of them were just outright ignored in the Tuskegee study. Professional integrity and honesty was a code of ethics that was broken by the extreme lack of transparency, integrity, and honesty of the researchers involved in the Tuskegee study. Another violation of the ADA's code of ethics was against beneficence, as professionals should always act in the best interest of their patients. The researchers of the Tuskegee study exposed the participants to harm in a manner of severe health consequences. Back to you, Bryce.
The study also breached the code of non-maleficence, meaning that professionals should avoid causing harm to their patients. The researchers avoided the act of providing treatment with penicillin, and harm was a direct result of this. Patient autonomy was significantly breached. The participants were never informed of their syphilis diagnosis or even the true intentions of the study. And last but not least, justice and fairness was violated in the means of how the study selected its participants. The experiment targeted African American male populations from disadvantaged communities. Back to Josephine to wrap up this story.
While one of the major outcomes of the Tuskegee study was the death of the participants from the untreated syphilis, their families and those they had close contact with were also affected, as untreated diseases would be more likely to be transmitted, and our sources list 40 wives and 19 children were infected. Moreover, this study had such large-scale repercussions, especially amongst the African American communities, and may have aggravated the distrust among African Americans and the healthcare providers, thus depriving them of potentially life-saving treatments. However, not all outcomes were negative. The lawsuit resulted in several millions of dollars to help with medical care for the affected families, and it sparked changes in research ethics and health disparities throughout the nation. Moreover, it catalyzed the institutional review boards to oversee and approve research regarding human subjects. Moreover, works like the Belmont Report, written by the National Commission for the Protection of Human Subjects of Biomedical and Behavioral Research, developed as a result to protect disadvantaged people. Additionally, the Congress passed the National Research Act to prevent future situations of exploitation through research.
And that's it for our 11 minutes on the Tuskegee study. Thanks for joining us, and stay tuned for more of the most outrageous and appalling healthcare news. To all of America, good night.